What's going on, 4th and 5? Josh Throne here with
Yeah.
the Matt Harris for another episode of Getting Defensive, brought to you by Ortho Arkansas. This segment, though, Getting Defensive, is brought to you by Commercial Air. Y'all, if y'all don't know about Commercial Air, they are the most reliable HVAC services in Northwest Arkansas. Look no further than Commercial Air. It's a third-generation, family-owned business that's been serving Arkansas since 1971. They've been here for a long time, Matt. They're the real
71.
deal. They are the experts in keeping critical environments like data centers, hospitals, manufacturing plants, all the big buildings running smoothly with industrial grade cooling system repair, maintenance, and replacement services. Available 24/7 and a commitment to top tier service, Commercial Air is the trusted name in HVAC solutions. Matt, let's be honest, man. I told you we needed somebody there to cool down the game against Arkansas or against
got
Missouri, and we got them.
You got it.
We got it
You
real
you
cool.
got the blizzard, brother.
So
Man,
thanks to
AC is working fine right
thanks to Commercial Air
now. Thank you, commercial air.
having the
Right.
weather right for the game, keeping it nice and frosty. But
Right.
Matt, man, I know you're down there in Dallas. You're watching the game. We were talking about it
Yeah.
a little bit. Kind of a typical game for this season, right? The Razorbacks this close,
Yeah.
fumbling the bag, handing
Yeah.
it over to the other team. What were you
Yeah.
thinking? Throughout the game, what was your overall thoughts?
We're going bowling, man. We're prepping for a bowl week. Everyone at the beginning of the year, 4-win team, 5-win team. It didn't take long to be like, wow, they're not wrong. But we turned it around, to finish this game off against Mizzou the way we did. Obviously, it would have been great to walk away with a win. But there are multiple ways to win games and multiple ways to lose games. That's just the way sports go. And there's definitely too many big plays let up by our defense at critical times. I mean, they held these guys to field goals almost the entire time. It just goes to show you the sensitivity of this sport. You can just go back and forth like it was. It was a dogfight in the snow. I mean, what a
Correct.
cool game for our fans, for the players, for the coaches. I mean, I can't think I ever played in a true snow game like that. Cold games, sure, they're the worst. Your bones are just brittle and you got
Right.
nothing to show for it. At least it's snowing. It's like, let's go.
Hey man,
Uh,
at least you get to play out there and get your body warmed up. I was just over there freezing on the bench, dude. You want to talk about cold? You know how cold it is in November when you don't play? Your toes are frozen. All the fans in the stands, they got blankets. You're out there running, sweating. Oh, it was just terrible, dude. Terrible. But anyways, look, man, this game was awesome. I mean, it was
yeah,
awesome
yeah, it was
awesome
a
game
cool
to
game.
play in. Sorry,
Yeah,
awesome game to play in.
cool game to
Awesome
watch.
weather.
Yeah,
But DJ was talking to me about the game. He's mentioning, he thought the big tide shifted when Landon Jackson got hurt. It
no
was
question, man. That was
scary,
scary.
scary neck
Hate
injury
seeing it.
there for a second.
Hate seeing
And
it.
what I have heard is that he's doing good now. He's okay.
Good,
He was back with the team.
good.
But the tide, it seemed like the tide shifted then.
Hmm.
But really, we were talking about that third quarter, around 10 minutes left. Mizzou comes out after we put up a touchdown, and they go on a 16-play drive for 8 minutes long. I wanted
Yeah.
you to take me through some of those plays, and feel free to stop on any one play that you really want to break down. But what were your thoughts around this time of the game?
This is a cool way to watch film, right? Sometimes you pick out individual plays like we've done, and they're obvious to break down what happened there. Sometimes it's just an emotional thing. This is one of those back and forth games, Josh, where it wasn't a high scoring game. There's snow on the ground. Some pretty easy stuff, but seeing a series of how plays get broken down, how it leads to a field goal, how it leads to a touchdown. We'll try and break that down. So here you go, 3rd and 5, 10 personnel. So one back, no tight ends, Josh, is what that means. So it's an obvious pass down. It's 5 yards to go. Watch the sticks. It's snowing. It's either deep balls or short routes. We're rushing 3 down linemen with the 4th and the backer coming from the field. Well, I guess it's kind of middle of the field. But, what bothers me is I can tell you this, the scouting on this, the quarterbacks are running quarterback. And I
Right.
think our guy, Surrey, there, if I'm not mistaken, number 10, should have made that play. He was in a hold position. He was in a spy position, but he wasn't aggressive enough. Look at 30, Worth, and he are right next to each other. Worth's got vertical route on the tight end, so he's fine there, but they shouldn't be at the same level. If you're spying that quarterback, get up in the hole and don't sit back in the same position. So 3rd and 5, They get the big third down. You stop them right there, Josh. Is a completely different story. Now they start to tick tock.
Mm-hmm.
2nd and 9. They're changing up their formation. They've only got one true wide out. They're stacking them in here. So you're starting to see a little bit of how their offense flows. Quick ball outside, cold outside, make the tackle. Corner misses the tackle. He gets another 7, 8 yards after contact. That's a free first down. You can't
Yeah.
do that.
Matt, a lot of hesitation on these tackles during this drive, and I don't know if it's the snow. You're not wanting to play too aggressive and slip, just being afraid to get beat over the top and missing the tackle altogether. But a lot of hesitation I saw
Yeah.
throughout this game with guys not coming up and really playing hard and playing fast.
Yeah, it is a combination of cold, Josh. You can't come out of your break the same, so there is that. So it changes up your timing. The receiver, pretty much as soon as he gets the ball, he can turn and make one move on you pretty quickly still. But you having to make that adjustment, you aren't able to carry so much momentum. So you're basically arm tackling these guys, and these guys are 6'3", 220, and
Right.
they can break arm tackles. So it is a hard thing to do. But understand, I didn't wear gloves for this reason because I didn't want to feel the loss of these guys' jerseys out of my hand because that right there, he had them at the line to gain. He hit them 2 yards back, but get him down, get a first down. Instead, he gains almost 7 more yards. Uh, those missed tackles are inexcusable. They really are. Especially as a corner on the edge, you're going to see another one here soon where a missed tackle 7 yard play turns into a 70-yard play. So this one, frankly, we got lucky.
Then they come back out 2nd and 7. Man, they're chugging their way down the field. What I found is both offenses kind of had to lean on the run during this game because you saw early on in the game they tried to throw the ball, and it just was like, man, they're not their fingers aren't warmed up enough, their shoulders aren't warmed
Yeah.
up enough. I saw both offensive just go into the run. They chug along here at this run at 2nd and 7. They turn around 3rd and 1 and kind of chug it up the middle again, and so they just continuing on. But we get down into this 3rd and 3 situation, and honestly, I'm thinking we're about to give up a touchdown, but the Razorbacks get it together late in the red zone.
Man, this was great about football, Josh. This isn't even a bend but don't break. You may think it is, but this is a huge win. We were talking about last week defensive stats and how we're one of the worst in the SEC. I want to see what our red zone stats are. You can let guys get down to the 5 yard line. If they're kicking field goals, that's how you win.
Right.
So what I see here, Josh, if you saw in that previous third down, 3rd and 1, it was actually a designed quarterback run. Whenever a quarterback's the runner, you get an extra blocker with your running back. So 3rd and 1, this is a Tebow play all over it. It still haunts me to this day. I'm going to call it Orlando, Arkansas. It's got me here. But quarterback runs are hard to beat, especially on 3rd and 1. I was shocked, honestly, that they didn't do it again. They just gave him a straight downhill right stretch play, a little zone play, no guards pulled, anything like that. And you know who makes this play? Number 4, the play side defensive end goes in there and blows up that right tackle. Well, it looks like he gets blown up off the ball, but look, you can see he makes this play. He comes out right underneath the running back with, I think, our backside defensive end. So, that's where, I mean, Josh, I'm a defensive back. Deion Sanders, prime as a defensive back. The guys who win the games are the guys in the trenches that make the play on third down like that. I mean, defensive end forces a bad throw. So, I mean, you can't, like our offensive line play has been horrendous this year, right? You can't win games with a bad offensive line. You can't win games with a bad defensive line. That 3rd and 3 play was a great example of, hey, depend on your big boys because that's what you're there for. When it's
Yeah.
3rd and 13, call on Matt Harris. Don't call on Matt 3rd and 3.
Right.
Matt Harris is your leading tackler. That means everyone got through to where Matt can now make the tackle. That's not normal. Good teams are led in tackles by their linebackers primarily, but even defensive linemen sometimes. What if a lineman's your lead tackler? You're going the shit, man.
Right.
Let's go.
Well, man, look, I'm proud of our defense here because they come out and stop them, force them to a field goal. That's what you want. At this moment in the game, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? We're still good. We're still good. Hey, look, it's only 10-14. We're still up. Hey, we're up. But then this is where I kind of go, uh-oh, here's Arkansas being Arkansas. And so Jacquin Jackson fumbles it. Missouri gets it again, 34 yards to go, and they drive down the field and make it happen here. So take me through this drive.
Going into the fourth quarter, you're up 4 points. Your offense just puts you in a tough spot. How are you going to respond? So you're on the 2nd and 20. You got your only wide receiver. They may be in a 2 receiver set, but they're sending motion, Josh, from the boundary to the field. Remember how I said they like to run the ball into the boundary?
Mm-hmm.
Offensive playbooks a lot of times are geared towards the boundary of the field. They're geared towards an offensive player, or it's geared against a certain defensive player. And so it looks like Missouri, like it's easier to throw a ball on the short side of the field. You can get to the edge quicker on the short side of the field if you're at running back. So in a snow game, right, let's run our offense to the short side of the field. That's something that, I picked up on pretty quick here, and you would like to think our defense did too. So you load up the short side of the field, you run motion away, you throw play action, really sell it away, and then guess what happens? Number 87 here blocks down, blocks down, blocks down that tight end to the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Block down, block down, block down. He really sold it. He did a good job and made good contact on the end. And then he sneaks out for a 20-yard gain.
Whose job is that, though? You said we're in man coverage there.
Yeah. So
Uh,
we're in man free. There is a safety behind everybody, but this is man free. Whenever people
mm-hmm.
get clumped up like this, you're talking your linebackers, your corners, and your safeties. So 30, their worth is down left, is what we call it. He's down into the box. You can see those backers scoot over to the right with that motion because they know that safety is out there. So everybody's lined up properly,
Mm-hmm.
except our safety's eyes. 30, worth, you can tell he got sucked into the backfield when he's supposed to have eyes on 87. And we talked about this a little bit, like, well, Matt, that's kind of hard to do. I'm like, no, it's not, Josh. My first thought when I would see run away was, well, how about this? We talked about this very first show. What's the down and distance, and what's the personnel, right? It's 2nd and 20, and they
Right.
got one back, one tight end, a full back. They're running this ball.
Mm-hmm.
And if they pass it, it's not going to be some deep burner route. I'm not worried about getting out of my back pedal. I'm not covering Percy Harvin here, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the mindset that you got to put yourself in. Like, how can they mess up this play? This is how fans, you're okay to get frustrated this play because it had nothing to do with athleticism. This is frankly why I got on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I was a decent athlete, you know what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
you don't make these mistakes. These are junior high school mistakes. 30, worth has man-to-man on 87, period. When I see run away, I'll walk you through if I was him. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm 30 and I've got man-to-man on tight end and I peek in the backfield and I see run away, I'm slow to go anyway, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the cutback. I'm not making that play. I'm not loafing, but I am there as a designated cutback player, reverse player. Watch the fake. Hey, 2nd and 20. They're going to run a draw, a screen play, a little tight end shakedown like this right here because they don't have wide receivers out. They're
Right.
going to run the ball away or they're going to do something like this. So you're anticipating this with this defense. And when I say you're anticipating this, you are yelling this across the field.
So
Watch
you're on
the draw.
you're on the field yelling this to all the different all your different teammates.
Every game that I ever played.
Yeah.
Every game that I played. This wasn't a we did it sometimes thing. This is a versus Mizzou thing, or this is versus a 22 personnel weird package. No, every play. When it
Mm-hmm.
was 2nd and long, 3rd and long, the rules were draw, watch the screen, and watch the funny stuff. Don't let the funny stuff get behind you. The double pass, the reverse, this play right here.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have been playing football a long time. He's not a bad football player. He just had very undisciplined eyes. In the end of a 3rd quarter freezing ice tundra game,
Right.
you can make all the excuses in the book, or you can make the damn play. Because
Yep.
it's not that hard to do your job, especially on a slow tight end, dude. Make the
Right.
play on a tight end. He's a tight
Right.
end.
Man,
He's
this
a
is
good
why
tight end. He might be in the league, but he's a tight end.
I know, and this
Sorry.
is why no, and
I
this
love
is
you, DJ. Tight ends are amazing people.
this is why I look at this play and I'm going, okay, well, it's hard to put so much accountability on the defense when your offense comes up and just
No
fumbles the
excuses.
ball
No,
and puts
you
you
don't
right
think.
back on the field.
No, you don't
You-
think like that running out in the field. You really don't.
No, I know you don't think
You're
like that.
pissed.
I'm saying I think like that. I want to give,
Yeah,
I
right.
try to look at these guys. I'm like, gosh, man, if our offense could not fumble on the
Yeah.
first play when they get the ball back, you're not in a situation where you're right back out on the field. Guys, they spent roughly 12 minutes straight on the field.
All the 3rd quarter.
All in the 3rd quarter, right. And so they get this play. We had another little chance at a 3rd and 1, but again, their offensive line really opened up our defensive line, and our linebackers were slow to go, didn't meet them in the backfield. It was 3rd and 1. Again, an icy game like this, really hard for us to be reactionary against a down line, down the line, straight ahead running back who's churning his way on ice for 1 yard gain. I'm
Yeah.
not going to hold the defense to that particular third down. And it leads them to a third and goal situation. And they, again, basically the same play, running up the gut because
Yeah.
it's working. And
Yeah.
that sends us, they go ahead and kick the ball off. Arkansas goes on a 6-play, 32-yard drive. Just a total of 2 minutes of possession, so not very long. Defense is right back on the field because we punt it again. And the big play here is at the beginning of the fourth quarter. This was the dagger. Now they've got 17-14. Now they've taken the lead on us.
Yep.
And we're going, okay, all we need to do is count on this defense to get out on this field again and save it for us. But what happens here at this play? Because this is a big play, and I think this was a dagger for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. We talked about it earlier in the film. It's just missed tackles. It is athletic ability. It is the elements. There are some honesties in this play that are difficult. It's not as easy to tackle. I mean, this guy, number one, he looks like he's the captain of the team. He looks like he's a 6'3", 220 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the SEC. This is the guys we play every week, right? So take those excuses back to the Big 12. I don't want to hear it.
Matt, put yourself back in that hog helmet real quick.
Yeah.
And you are trailing him. You're that first guy trailing him. Can Matt Harris catch this guy against? I just want to know. I want to know.
I wasn't going to bring it up. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to the roster. I'm going to read this to y'all because I've kind of had enough of this. They tried to do this when I was there too. They tried to take. Do you remember? What's his name? We called him the Juice. He was 6'4", 235. It looked like someone drew muscles on him with the Sharpie.
Anthony Leon.
Anthony Leon.
Yeah.
He was what's his name's cousin?
Yeah.
Sean Taylor's cousin from Miami. I mean, London Crawford came in one day just laughing his ass off. Being like, Matt, you're never going to play your senior year. I just saw Anthony Leon come through the locker room, and you're never going to play. And I was like, I peeked in. I was like, oh, my God, he's right. I'm never going to play.
He's like,
we went out there, Josh, first defensive series, and the guy had rocks for feet. He could barely move. He could barely backpedal. He was a linebacker all day. He wasn't athletic. He just couldn't backpedal with the group. And I took a big exhale, and I was like, oh. So I taught him the playbook because he needed help. He's a new guy. And I knew the playbook. And so we became really good friends. But Larry Worth reminds me of the Juice.
Yeah.
Worth is 6'4", 225, dude. That's not a safety. I know everyone wants these big 230 Alabama safeties, but safeties are 195 to 205, 210 if you get crazy. I mean, you know what I mean? They're not 225. And I've seen this all year. And I mean, I guess he's just like a hard worker or something. But yeah, Matt Harris, in summary, would have hawked that dude down.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. I didn't know. I didn't know if
and I'm not just saying that.
No, I know. I didn't know if you've been too far from the game to forget, how fast you were.
No, your boy. No, I mean that guy was fast for sure, but I had more speed than that dude. Hey, you forget I won the SEC Speed Award 2 years in a row at the Arkansas Razorback competitions, and they did not give that award out lightly or politely that I had.
I know you did. I just wanted to hear you say it. Well, I want to give it to our defense because after that big play, I was kind of losing hope. I was still in the game. I'm still in the game. I'm still in the game, but I was losing hope after I saw something like that. And plus, I was around a lot of people who were also losing hope, and that didn't help. Yeah. However, we stop them on a third down. We get a 4th and 7. They kick another field goal. Hey, it's still a ball game. Touchdown puts us up, and we did. We went down, and I was proud of the offense. We went down, scored a touchdown, made it 21-20. But they get the ball back, and I really just want to focus on this final play because I know everybody knows what play we're going to, and everybody out there is wondering how the heck did that happen. DJ touched on it. He thinks it's a design run, but from a defensive perspective, when you watch that final run from the quarterback, what goes through your mind as a former safety? Who should have stopped this? How would you stop it if you could get this play back?
See, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know the defenses that have been played, that have been called, how they're supposed to be executed, meaning did the coaches game plan? Did we have a spy for this quarterback? And if not, did we make halftime adjustments to say, hey, this guy can run the ball? Second and long, third and long. It's kind of like the draw screen theory. You're starting to watch for certain tendencies. And what they had all game was this guy saving them, running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can you predict it on a 2nd and 9 with 2 minutes left? No. But 14, uh, that Steven Dix, he goes so hard at the running back coming out. It just baffles me a little bit. One-on-one tackle with the quarterback, you may miss him, but dude, you put a shoulder into him and slow him down. Now you're safety. Now you're helping get there. He had a free release. I don't disagree with DJ. I think this was a design run all the way. The slot receivers are doing quick out routes to draw the interior, whether they're safeties or backers. All they got to do, watch right here to the field. Watch number 3, Slaughter. He has got eyes in the backfield. He's backing
Mm-hmm.
up. He puts his eyes on his man who cuts out because it's a zone play, and he jumps over, just 2 or 3 yards, but his momentum and the yardage, he was the next closest guy.
Mm-hmm.
That quarterback's a smart 5th-year player. He knew exactly what he was looking for. If that backer blitzes and that end runs high and you're running out routes, he knows the middle of the field is open. He's like, I just got to get to the line and make that linebacker miss.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 1-4 took himself out of the play and just went and gave that running back a big hug.
Mm-hmm.
When if it's a
Right.
pass play, just let the guy catch it, and then you tackle him as he catches it. You don't need to get on him like that.
Right.
So I was a little upset at Dix on this play. It was a huge. It just busted the game wide open. This guy has wheels. He can run it. You just saw that.
Yep.
It's a snow game. This is what's been happening. It was upsetting, but it was really the flow was off, right? The score was 7-14, 14-7 Hogs at the beginning of the 3rd quarter. Then it was 14-10. Then it was 14-13. Then it was
14-17.
then it's 14-17.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we came back and went ahead with 2 minutes left in the game. That was our only sustaining drive in the second half, our only one. And the defense should have stopped this play. They let up too many big plays, too many big missed tackles. But they played well enough to win this game. And I just wish we had another field goal in this,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in the second half.
Yeah.
I wish we stopped a few more big plays. So this is a defensive segment, right? But we just talk ball. We're talking shot, man. I
Mm-hmm.
love these guys. I think they had a hell of a year. Missouri in the snow, underdogs. Mizzou was a top 10 team coming in the year and leaving, I think, last year. They're a good football program. But this defense played really well. And if I just have to wrap up the season real quick, I would tip of the cap to Coach T. Will and the defensive players out there. There was a lot of assignments and adjustments that we could always look back in hindsight, Josh, as fans, because that's what we are even now. Former players, we're fans. We're watching. We're not the man in the arena. There's something to say about that missed tackle. There's something to say, why can't you tackle that guy on the 2nd and 9 in the snow game when you can't feel your toes since the 2nd quarter?
Right.
There's so much stuff that goes into that football game, and that's what makes it beautiful between those sidelines when you can smell the grass and, feel your knuckles breaking in that cold, and you got to do it again. So I love this game and thought they did a really good job. I'm with you, fans. It pisses me off.
Yeah, I think we need a little bit more help from our offense, and that's what I've been making. I've been making an argument here recently is that Bobby Petrino, any offensive coordinator, I don't care who it is, it just happens to be Bobby Petrino. If you bring him in 12 months, he takes us from being like the 107th ranked offense, and he turns us into a top 10 offense as far as per yardage. Because it's not touchdowns, because we're not for converting it all as touchdowns. I think we also lead in fumbles. I don't put the fumbles on coaching, and maybe I should. I just feel like every college coach tells their players to hold on to the ball. You're there. You're in college.
Yeah, right.
You know to hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
We're not running through fumble drills in practice. I'm sorry. Like, you're told to hold on to the ball. People are constantly whacking and hitting and trying to make you lose the ball. And there's drills that you can do to hold the ball high and tight, and people try to knock it out with different pads and whatnot. But these guys know to hold the ball. They know how to hold the ball. These are mental errors. I'm sure there's some way of coaching that to coach that up, but at the same time, some of it's just pure bad luck.
Yeah,
And
it's funny shaped
it
ball, Josh.
it is, and we had a lot of that. So here we are, 6-6. We're already dealing with some coaching changes out here. We've got, or I'm sorry, coaching shopping, should I say? Our coaches
Mm.
are being shopped. So Petrino was spotted getting off of a plane in North Carolina. That Mac Brown position might be becoming available, and it seems like he might be one of the top candidates for that job. Then you've also,
Good for Bobby.
yeah, he said, "Hey, listen, what are you fatigued, Harris? What are you fatigued? Listen,
I had to. I'm sorry.
we got
Uh,
we got Pittman, who's hip surgery, and now they're saying, yeah, hey, he is coming back. First, it was he might retire. Oh, that's what the rumors were,
yeah,
and now it's like, oh no, he's not retiring. He is coming back.
it's hard.
Defensive coordinator's probably getting shopped too. Nobody's talking about Travis Williams, but
I
I
know, that's what
think
I'm worried about.
that he did really well, and he's getting shopped. So there's
He's
all
up
this.
for the Broyles Award.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff that's going on right now in the state of the Hogs.
yeah.
Um,
It's hard, man. You can't
well,
have so
yeah.
much turnover.
What do you see the biggest hurdle being if we keep? Let's just say we keep Pittman, because I don't like talking about coaches being let go
Yeah,
or fired until they are,
big
right?
hypothetical.
Yeah, big hypothetical. So right now it seems to be the message is that he's staying here.
Yeah.
What do you think he has to do in order to take a step forward from a 6-6 bowl game year and to get to that 8-9 wins minimum with a bowl
Minimum.
game, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um, that's a good question, and we could almost have another show on this. Maybe in the off season we dive into NIL
hmm
and football general managers. We kind of touched on Andrew Luck just took that position for Stanford because that's what we need here. We need an involvement at the NIL. Guys being able to leave at a moment's notice. I saw that our backup quarterback is in the portal.
hmm
Drives me nuts, Josh. It drives me absolutely nuts. You got the keys to the castle and you're leaving. And there's probably stuff I don't know, and if there is, guys, comment on here because I'm genuinely curious why this guy's leaving. But if your coach stays, you have to recruit your culture. Imagine this as the NFL now, right? You're going to have a nucleus of guys on your team that do stay, and the ones that want in, you've got to create a culture where they buy in and they don't want to leave. Think of Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. It's not because Dan Campbell is that good of a coach in Detroit just all of a sudden became Motor City Part 2. No, he created a culture there that is eerily similar to a Texas A&M or an Arkansas Razorback, not a just top tier blue chip Alabama team like we got to, have a bigger heart and the breaks got to go our way kind of deal. That's what happens. Like if you know that as a hog, man, you're the underdog. There's a lot of power in the underdog. And
hmm
um, I don't know if that's being taught anymore in the culture. It seems like Pittman's a culture guy, but to be long-winded about all this, Josh, is, we have to do it from both sides. We have to create this nucleus of a locker room. We were talking earlier about our 2005 class, recruitment class. Darren, Felix, me, Casey, Marcus Shavers. I mean, we had a really good class, and I can just imagine classes after class coming into Arkansas and committing to each other like we used to in a football sense. Because if Casey Dick left or if Darren left after the first year to go to Alabama to get more money, man, that would crush our locker room.
Yeah.
That would crush our recruiting class, would crush our connection. It would instantly signal to everybody that you didn't matter, I matter more than you.
hmm
And I know everybody talks about this till you're blue in the face, but it is a sad thing about college because it is a 4-year term. It is school. You are still an amateur, even though you're getting paid. It's a weird
Right.
kind of thing we're all dealing with now. And I don't disagree with it. I just wish that it would evolve so teams like Arkansas could rebuild their program. Right now, you got multiple guys who have been there for less than a year almost at this point, or some if they come in 2 days in the summer.
hmm
So you can't fall in love with Fayetteville and the Ozarks without seeing the leaves change. You don't float the rivers, you don't go down Frat Row and, figure out where the best spots are to eat on 6th Street. Like, you've got to fall in love with the culture of Northwest Arkansas and Fayetteville. And if you guys need me to recruit you, I'm open 24/7. Uh, but that's a real deal, man. There's only one Razorback, and it's hard in this atmosphere to just get a bunch of cool jerseys and call yourself Oregon and think that you're going to win football games.
No.
You got to turn your 2 stars into 4 stars, and
hmm
Arkansas used to be really good at that.
Yep.
And I think we can get back to it.
Yeah, I think we can too. I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head. It comes down to culture, and you got to have that leader that's going to be able to do that.
Hmm.
Sam Pittman was known at one moment, and in his tenure as a culture guy.
Yeah.
Can he make that happen again? We'll have to see. We did take a good step in the right direction, and I've made the argument, and I'm not advocating. I don't want anybody going, "Oh, Josh is advocating for or against Sam Pittman." I'm just making a point that when you bring in Bobby Petrino to install a brand new offense, that's basically like you're starting over offensively.
Yeah.
It's a new install for a team to learn. There wouldn't be any difference in a head coach coming in and bringing in a brand new install versus an offensive coordinator coming in and bringing in a brand new install. So that I'd like to see, if he stays and doesn't take that UNC job, I'd like to see his offense in year two, because he took a big leap forward. And I think that
Yeah.
if we can fine tune some of these things, especially ball control, and not fumbling,
Yeah.
then this team's record looks a lot different this year. And I will say that you know it's different with NIL, like you said. We're going
Yeah.
to have to recruit our locker room actively. As
Yeah.
we talked about earlier, that's different than ever before. You used to feel comfortable once you got a guy, you could kind of move on and focus on
Yeah.
recruiting that next class. Now you
Yeah.
can't. You've got to
Yeah.
recruit these guys day in and day out. And I think that you've got to get serious about the portal. I think that instead of having these freshman classes that have 25 to 26 or 20 to 30 incoming freshmen, whatever
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah.
scholarship wise, I think you cut that in half and you focus on the freshmen that can contribute. And then you go play the portal really hard of guys that
Yeah.
are already ready, physically developed, have playing time, and you become a portal school. It's hard to
Well,
argue against
become
that in
a
this era.
become a portal school with a culture, right? That is a good NFL team. You've got to have the culture, you've got to have the locker room, the leader's got to be established. If you get really good players around a really good leader, that's when championships happen. You get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of really good players around a lot of other really good players, you get a lot of really big egos. And we've seen it. It works both ways. They can tear a locker room apart. That's what Darren and Felix were so special. They were amazing supporters of each other. They knew both of them were going to be first round talent. Peyton, I mean, it's just incredible to see that backfield. Like, I get so mad because I was in that backfield, or I was on that team where I saw that backfield and how unselfish those guys were. Peyton Hillis ends up on the cover of Madden. Darren McFadden, number 4 overall pick. He's in New York twice. Felix Jones, multiple year All American, first round draft pick, 25 pick overall. Incredible career. Everybody loves these guys. And none of them were scared of each other. There's three first rounders, 3 starters that could have done it, and none of them transferred because they weren't allowed, and they stuck together and they did something really cool and special, and they're forever going down to history
All right.
as one of the best, running back tandems in college football history. There's always arguments, but they are undoubtedly up there because no one
Mm-hmm.
transferred. If there was a portal, would they have transferred and ruined that relationship forever? It's just
Right.
football. Paul Petrino used to say, "Your men enjoy this time. You're never going to sit in another room of like this of many like-minded young men ever in your life. It's such a unique time in your world." And so, to see these guys just jump in and out, uh, is bittersweet because it's all about ball. It's all about me. It's all about money, and I'm curious how that affects a young man's mind and culture in a locker room. And heck, it might be the best thing ever for the NFL because how money changes a person. Let it change it to them in college. If they're going to get $1 million and not play the same, shoot, I'd like to know that them as a sophomore, in college than a 3-year guy and he's under a $20 million contract for us.
Right.
I do have a question. I'm curious for our
Mm-hmm.
fans and listeners out there. We have great responses. Thank you guys. Uh, Here's the other big question that people surely have to ask themselves if they talk about a coaching staff change. Because again, I think Josh, you and I are similar. I'd be happy if it did, it didn't. Like either way, I think players are the ones with the magic. They can start executing. But if you did get a new coach, who is out there realistically that's available? I don't know the market for head coaches, right? If everyone's available and you just pay them amount of money, that's not what I'm talking about. Like who's really on the hot seat that's actually good enough that we don't just want to pick up because they got fired. If it's not Bobby, right? That's the kicker. Like throw Bobby out of it. If we're starting fresh, which I'm a fan of, completely fresh, um, who would be a good candidate out there? I haven't heard any whispers, but it's about to be that time. It's whisper time. So I'm
Yeah.
curious who you can't just say, oh, replace Dak because Dak sucks at quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you heard of that team. They're like 2-10 right now, but you know, I'm not a huge Dak fan, but it's like, who would you go replace him with?
All right.
It's
No,
kind of the same thing.
I know, I understand your point. Yeah,
Regarding
with Sam Pittman, I think a lot of people are rumbling about Barry Odom obviously coming back, leaving UNLV, and being able to keep the coaching staff together. But I mean, whether he can or
I
cannot
want to
do that,
change.
yeah,
I don't want to mix and match. That's why I'm kind of against Bobby.
yeah,
Like we've had these reps. I like him at OC. Let's keep that rolling. Maybe that changes everything. You score more points in this Missouri game, you win this game. You score
yeah,
a couple of field goals, you win this game.
yeah.
It was that kind of game. Uh, that's what's so cool about football. We can have podcasts and discuss what we should and shouldn't do about a huge program that makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and they do just fine. But to get over that 6-6 barrier, it's going to be tough for our Hogs in this NIL atmosphere if something doesn't change.
It absolutely is, man. Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show again this week. I know you had a lot going on, brother. We're still praying for you legitimately, and praying for your wife as well. The whole family. The 4th and 5. I'll have to send you some screenshots of the comments because there's a lot of people out there who have been making notes to you and Katie.
Right.
So thank you
Means
for
a lot.
watching this episode of
Appreciate
4th and 5. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for watching this episode of 4th and 5. Again, presented by Ortho Arkansas. And this segment is always brought to you by Commercial Air. So, Matt, my man, I will see you later on this week. Hopefully, we've got some Oaklawn stuff that we're still going to be doing for the remainder of the football season.
Yeah. Then we got some bowl prep, baby.
We got some bowl prep. We got some bowl stuff. So we're going to keep this fire alive, baby. You guys keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing. You're watching 4th and 5.